was sitting in the train and I burst out into tears because of the ending of a novel everybody knows. So it's like an ending with the Titanic. Everybody knows that the Titanic will crash into the iceberg. It's the same with this novel. And even despite the fact that I knew how it would end, I still burst out into tears in a public place. The novel I'm talking about is Anna Karenina. Maybe you don't know it, but if you were raised in a Russian culture or if you know your way around classical literature, you surely know that Anna Karenina kills herself at the end of the novel. And everybody who reads that knows how it's gonna end. But I cried, not because of what happened in the end, but because of the way the author described what happened and described those characters and got you invested into them. So this is the power of reading novels. And today I really want to make the case for reading novels. So if you're someone who says that they don't like reading novels or don't have time to do that, just hold on for a second and let me make the case with 6 reasons you really should read at least 2 or 3 novels per year. And if you say you don't have time, that's not an excuse, because listen to audiobooks. Everybody can listen to audiobooks, and there are so many of them out there. And if you're someone who reads nonfiction and you don't want to read fiction, that's a valid point because you want to learn things. But the experience of reading novels is completely different. It's not entertainment, not solely. Of course it is, but not solely entertainment. Not solely escape from your reality into another life and into another place. It's so much more than that. So of course you should and you can continue reading nonfiction, but reading fiction is a complete different experience emotionally, and it will stick with you much longer. But now let's just jump into those 6 reasons why you should read, and let me explain in more detail. And I bet that by the end of this video you will want to read a new novel. Number 1, you can live many lifetimes. So, from reading novels, you will live in the souls and the hearts and the bodies of several different characters in several different worlds. If you want to live in the past or always wanted to live in the past, you can. If you want to have a glimpse into the future, at least the future that authors imagine in their books, you can. You will go to places where you've never been or maybe will never go, because you don't have the possibility. And you will meet people you might never actually meet, or people that are similar to other people that you might never actually meet. So if you want to live several lifetimes, you sure should read novels, because they say that experience in life makes you richer, but by reading novels you get exactly that. I know that it's fiction, but it's still derived from real human experience, and if authors do their research right, then they are pretty accurate about the places where they put their characters. Even with the small details, maybe even if you were like a tourist in this place, you would never notice those things that are in the novel. So that, for example, or they're very accurate about the time. If they're historical novels, they're pretty accurate about their research and the time they're writing in. So if you want to live several lifetimes and gain the experience and visit those places, meet those people, reading novels is the tool to do that. Number 2, you'll understand people and viewpoints. So several authors are really masters into looking into the human soul, especially, like I mentioned, Tolstoy in the very beginning. He is a master in that. This is the beauty of Anna Karenina, for example, or War and Peace. Nothing major kind of happens for a long time, so it's not your usual action novel where things go very quickly and you have like this huge fast pace. But it gets you so invested into those characters because he's a master in looking into those human souls and explaining to you or having you feel these viewpoints of so many different people, and they're so completely different from each other, and still he's so deep into their viewpoints, into the way they see the worlds, that you don't even have a villain, because everybody has their viewpoint and every viewpoint is valid because of the way of how Tolstoy explains it to you, or shows you. He doesn't explain it, he shows it to you by looking through the eyes of this character. So this is a huge point in novels. You get to understand people more closely because, like, I'm an introvert, and I it's not that I don't like people, but I get really tired of people very quickly. So, and all of us, we are all the same. We kind of in our own subjective viewpoint, and that's normal because it's just us, you know. We see the world from our viewpoint, from our eyes, the way we think that things should work. And reading novels will really, it will widen your horizon of how people look at the world, and that not everybody thinks the way you do. And yeah, it's sometimes it's quite hard to understand viewpoints that are contrary to what you think, but reading novels will open to you a whole new world of how people think and why they think the way they do, and help you understand the people around you. So this is something that's really important with novels. It brings you closer to people and helps you understand other people. And it will also give you insight into other cultures you don't understand, because being raised in our own culture is a huge thing. We kind of underappreciate that. We just think that people are like, when we're born in Europe and we have the Western culture, we think that everything should be that way and that's normal for us. But being in other cultures, we start to realize that, okay, other things are normal for other people. And learning through novels, you will understand the way other cultures see the world, and it will help you widen your horizon. Things you cannot identify with will surely be open to you, and you'll start to understand different people, different cultures, different viewpoints. Number 3, you will learn new things. So, by reading novels, you will definitely learn new stuff. Like, for example, I read or heard Passenger Number 23 by Sebastian Fitzek. And let me tell you, I learned so much about cruise ships, and I kind of feel like I don't want to get on a cruise ship anymore. But every time you read a novel, you learn new things about reality, like technicalities, engineering, medicine. You also learn language better, to understand language and grammar. And the more you read novels, the more you start to learn new idioms, new things of how other people speak, for example, dialects, accents, and so on. So by reading novels, you learn the language better. When I was a child, I read so many novels and books, and it helped me be very good with language. I don't have any problem writing anything, letters, some official documents, nothing at all, because I understand language very well through reading. And as a child especially, you mostly only read novels and entertainment. Yeah, so you always learn new things, and the benefit is as well that you get to remember them for a longer time, because they're embedded in the story, so they stick with you better than just reading facts, for example. Number 4, understand yourself better. So, by identifying with the characters in the novel, and by following them through their journey and being put in their shoes, you start to wonder about yourself. You start to wonder whether how you would react in those situations. For example, what would you do? How would you decide? Which decision would you make? And on the other hand, you also learn about yourself by your own emotional reactions to the things that happen. Like when I cried in public after Anna Karenina killed herself, I learned something about how I feel and what I think about life. Or reading The Handmaid's Tale, I actually read it when I was pregnant, which might have been a mistake, but yeah, it kind of brought something up inside of me that I didn't realize was there, that I felt for my unborn child, for example, because of the way that they pictured the pregnancy there and her losing her child to other people and so on. So you learn so much more about yourself through your emotional reactions, and also through asking yourself, and you do it automatically, how would you react in this actual situation if you would be put under such pressure as it is done in the novel. Number 5, it unleashes creative parts of your mind and imagination. And this is kind of done subconsciously, but it really gives you, and this is why TV is so different from novels, because you get to imagine things. Especially when you're a child, you read and it's all played out in your imagination. For example, when you read a story and then it's done into a book, then you understand how much how much more difficult it is to identify with the characters, because when you read it, you imagine it so much different in your head, and the people look different, the places look different. So you train your imagination by reading novels and imagining the people and imagining the places. It's a really good strategy to train imagination and creative thinking. And many things, actually many inventions, came from reading the novels and reading fiction. And number 6, reading fiction reduces stress. It's kind of an obvious one, but it still helps because, yes, you get to escape into different worlds. You get to get out from your everyday life, from routine, from everything that's happening around you, because life can be overwhelming. And by escaping into these other worlds, it really helps you reduce stress. It helps you forget for a certain time, it helps you relax, and it helps you reduce stress. So what I really recommend is especially reading novels before bedtime, because before bedtime it's kind of hard to read nonfiction. It's quite difficult to concentrate, but it's really good to escape into another world, read something, and reap all the other benefits that I just told you, all the other things like learning about new people, learning about new things, understanding yourself more, living different lifetimes. This is such a great thing. So I really recommend start reading novels, even if it's one chapter before you go to bed, or even if it's one chapter while you're commuting from work back home or from home to work. Just start doing it. Just start listening to novels, reading novels, and you'll see how much your world will explode with new things, new realizations, and you will really widen your horizon with that. And if you're interested in dark dystopian fiction or techno-thrillers, you're welcome to check out my fiction. I'm writing under the pen name of D.F. Wink, and I started writing the Prometheus dystopian trilogy. You can get my prequel novella, Shaneki's Tale, for free on my website, dfwink.com, and you can buy my book on Amazon and everywhere where you can find books. So I'll be happy if you could check that out. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.